She had fallen for another man. Hi, I'm here to file for divorce. In the 5th year of their marriage, Leo Foster decided it was over. He was, however, doing it without his wife's knowledge. Across the desk, the clerk heard his request and spoke up. This is the divorce agreement. It requires signatures from both you and your wife. The divorce can be finalized 1 month after signing. Your wife. The clerk glanced around. A bitter taste filled Leo's mouth. Don't worry, he said. She'll sign it. He took the papers, stood up, and walked out. Chicago Central Hospital. Leo pushed open the door to the associate department head's office. A cool voice immediately cut through the air. Leo, how many times have I told you? Knock before you come in. A shadow of loneliness flickered in Leo's eyes. He had knocked. He had even heard a muffled come in. But Mia Evans, completely absorbed in her phone, had answered on autopilot, not even registering his presence. And now, she was annoyed that he had interrupted her chat with him. Mia, I have the contract for the commercial property Mom and Dad are buying. It needs your signature. Mia put down her phone, her expression a mask of irritation. But remembering it was a task from her superiors, she held out her hand. Leo flipped to the last page. Without looking up, without even glancing at the preceding pages, Mia signed her name. Watching her eyes immediately dart back to her phone, a look of pure joy on her face, Leo hesitated for a long moment before finally speaking. Tonight, Mom and Dad said. Mia, click, click, click. The voice arrived before the person. Hearing it, Mia's face lit up. She quickly pocketed her phone and stood. Leo froze. A man in a white coat stepped into the office. He wore gold-rimmed glasses, his hair was impeccably styled, and he carried himself with a straight-backed confidence. He was handsome in a clean-cut way. His name was Ryan Cole, a medical doctor who had just returned from fellowship abroad. Approaching them, Ryan glanced at Leo before smiling at Mia. Mia, I found this amazing new Thai place. Want to go grab lunch? Absolutely. With that, Mia handed the signed papers back to Leo and walked out. As they walked down the hall, Ryan's voice drifted back. Mia, who is that guy? Oh, nobody. Just an attending in our department. Mia's cool tone was laced with an undeniable excitement. How did you know Thai is my favorite? Listening to their voices fade down the corridor, a bitter smile twisted Leo's lips. He gripped the divorce agreement in his hand, the paper crinkling under the pressure. Mia hadn't suspected a thing. No, that wasn't right. The truth was, she didn't care enough to suspect. But it didn't matter. There was only 1 month left. Then, he would be gone for good. Leo felt the folded paper in his pocket. It was his letter of resignation. He and Mia had a secret marriage. Besides their parents, no one else knew. It had been Mia's decision, and Leo had agreed without question. They had been classmates in medical school. Leo had pursued her relentlessly for years, but to no avail. He had started to believe she simply wasn't interested in men. After graduation, they went their separate ways, and the intensity of that old crush began to fade. But 2 years after graduation, a job transfer brought Leo back to Chicago. A blind date, set up by their parents, brought them face to face again. The first thing Mia asked him was if he was willing to get married. Though he didn't understand why she was so direct, it was the answer he had been chasing for years. He happily agreed. Later, through his family's connections, Leo had transferred into Mia's department at the hospital. But because of their secret marriage, they never revealed their relationship to anyone. It was after they were married that Leo discovered the truth. It wasn't that she wasn't interested in men. It was that there had always been one man she loved, but could never have. Her world revolved around him. His name was Ryan Cole, her childhood friend, the one that got away. She had chased him time and again, but it never went anywhere. Then, a week before she and Leo were set up on that blind date, Ryan married someone else. The news devastated Mia. To escape the pain, and under pressure from her parents, she hastily married Leo. When Leo learned the truth, he was hurt, but he believed he could eventually win her heart. He never imagined that 5 years into their marriage, she would be just as she had always been. Cold, indifferent. His constant warmth had finally been extinguished by her icy distance. He was reaching his breaking point when, by chance, he saw a hidden album on her phone. It was filled with pictures of Ryan, photos from their childhood all the way up to the present. Even now, 5 years into their marriage, the album was still being updated. Leo couldn't accept it. Then came 2 months ago. Leo had prepared a lavish dinner, as he often did. Mia came home smiling, and throughout the meal, she seemed genuinely happy. Leo thought, for a fleeting moment, that she was finally starting to open up to him. It was only when he got up to get more rice that he glanced at her phone and saw the chat history with Ryan. His world fell apart. Ryan had divorced his wife 2 weeks prior. He had finished his studies abroad and was moving back to the States to work. He was even planning to take a position as a surgeon at Mia's hospital. Leo let out a hollow, self-mocking laugh. He knew then. Their relationship. It was finally time for it to end. As he was about to leave the empty office, something on Mia's desk caught his eye. A lab report. Mia was pregnant. But since they got married, they had never. Leo's heart turned to stone. He was utterly, completely shattered. This fruitless marriage had to end. With her signature on the divorce agreement, Leo returned to the home they had shared for 5 years. The house felt colder than ever. He looked around at the furniture and decor he had painstakingly chosen over the years, pieces he had used to build what he thought was a warm home. Memories flooded his mind. His eyes fell on the wedding photo in the living room, the one he polished every day. In it, Mia's expression was desolate, as if she were too sad to even breathe. Leo finally understood the pain she must have felt back then, loving someone she couldn't have. He lifted his hand, took the frame off the wall, and threw it away. He spent the entire night purging their shared memories. The dinner he was supposed to have with Mia's parents was canceled. Mia had been whisked away by Ryan. Mia came home late that night and noticed the missing wedding photo. She frowned. "Where's our wedding picture?" "It fell. I took it in to get repaired," Leo replied without looking up. Mia didn't press the issue. She placed a container of takeout in front of him. Staring at the food, full of peanuts, Leo froze. She still didn't remember. After all the times he'd told her he was allergic. Every time he ate peanuts, his entire body would break out in an unbearable itch, and he'd struggle to breathe. But for years, to make her happy, Leo had endured the misery. But not this time. He wasn't going to do it anymore. He took the container outside and threw it directly into the trash can. Starting today, he would throw away all the pain, all the resentment from their marriage. And that included throwing her away. "You seem like you're in a bad mood today." Later that night, Mia, having finished her skincare routine, sat on the edge of the bed with a face mask on, looking at Leo. He was lying with his back to her. "It's nothing. Just busy with work," he said coldly. "Oh, okay." Mia didn't suspect anything. "Where's that contract for Mom and Dad's property you had me sign? I want to see if I missed any details." "Do you really want to see it?" Mia nodded. "Yeah." Leo hesitated. Just as he was about to get up and retrieve the agreement, Mia's phone rang. "Mia, Ryan's wasted at the bar. He's yelling for you to come get him, and none of us can calm him down. You have to come. If he keeps drinking like this, who knows what will happen?" Even a moment's hesitation might have changed everything. "What's wrong?" Leo asked, his back still to her as she hung up. Mia paused for a moment, her eyes darting around as she thought. "Leo," she said quickly, "a patient needs emergency surgery tonight. I have to go back right away." Leo was silent for a long moment. Finally, he just said, "Okay." Mia hurriedly got dressed and rushed out. As she reached the door, she noticed a suitcase standing by the wall. She gave it a curious glance, but the situation was urgent, and she didn't stop to open it. He got out of bed. Watching her car pull away, he walked into the study. He expertly opened her laptop, which logged into her messaging app automatically. It was filled with messages from that man. "Ryan, Mia, my ex-wife called me again. She wants to get back together. Ryan, but I don't love her anymore. I only married her to get a reaction out of you, to see what you would do. Ryan, all these years, I've finally realized the person I care about most is you. Ryan, I heard you're pregnant with my child. I'm sorry, that was irresponsible of me. I promise I'll give you all my love. Ryan, why aren't you answering me? Are you mad? Ryan, I've had too much to drink. Can you come pick me up?" Then Mia's reply. "Ryan, stop drinking. I'm on my way." Staring at the messages, Leo's heart felt like a dead weight in his chest. He closed the laptop and walked out of the study. He saw the suitcase by the door. Leo had left it there for her on purpose. If she had just been curious enough to open it, she would have found it filled with mementos of their time together. But she hadn't. Her mind was completely occupied by that other man. So much so that she had no space left for him. A self-deprecating smile touched his lips. Leo went back to the bedroom. He began packing up everything that reminded him of their life together. With each item he packed, a wave of sorrow washed over him. 5 years. 5 years had shown Leo so much, and it had made him understand one thing clearly. He could never compete with the idealized memory of the one who got away. He didn't sleep all night. He packed until 7 the next morning. Carrying a large box, Leo walked out of the house. Just then, Mia was returning home. She frowned slightly. "What's in the box?" Leo laughed, a hollow sound. "Nothing, just some old stuff we don't use anymore." As he spoke, a conflict flickered in his eyes. He could see several red marks on her neck, like someone had gripped her too tightly. "Oh, okay. Well, go on then." Mia nodded dismissively, brushed past him, and went inside. Leo opened his mouth, but no words came out. If she had just looked a little closer, maybe she would have noticed something was wrong. But she hadn't. She had never cared enough to notice things like that. After getting rid of the box, Leo went back inside. Leo, can you keep an eye on this file upload for me? I'm just going to wash my face. Leo sat down on the sofa. Mia was uploading the latest research papers to their department head. He waited in silence. About 10 minutes later, the upload finished, and Mia came back out. Just then, a notification popped up on the laptop's messaging app. Leo glanced at it. It was a group chat Mia had with her closest girlfriends. At Mia Evans. Hey girl, the group's getting together tonight. You should bring your boyfriend. Reading the message, Leo's breath caught in his throat. In 5 years of marriage, Mia had never told anyone about their relationship. That was why no one in their department had ever suspected a thing. And now, her best friends were suddenly asking this. Could it be? Had she finally told them about him? He looked up at her, his eyes filled with a fragile hope. Are you going to take me to the get-together? The unspoken question hung in the air. You've told them, so you have to take me, right? But in that instant, Mia hesitated. She opened her mouth, but for a long moment, she said nothing. Leo's expression darkened. His heart felt as if it were being sliced by a knife, rendering him speechless. The man she called her lover. It wasn't him. After a long pause, Leo suddenly laughed. Just kidding. I have plans tonight. Even if you wanted to take me, I'd have to say no. The tension in Mia's shoulders visibly relaxed. A flicker of something unreadable crossed her face as she forced a smile. Okay, well, that's a shame. Maybe next time, then. I'll take you next time. Leo didn't say anything. He just laughed bitterly to himself. Next time? There wasn't going to be a next time. That evening, Mia went to the dinner with her friends as planned. The restaurant was filled with the cheerful, chattering voices of her girlfriends. They immediately started teasing her, asking why she hadn't brought her boyfriend. Finally, worn down by their questions, Mia reluctantly pulled out her phone. Looking at the two names on her screen, Leo and Ryan, she hesitated for a long moment before finally calling the latter. Ryan arrived in less than half an hour. The moment he appeared, her friends erupted in a chorus of oohs and ahs, praising Mia's good taste for finding such a handsome and successful boyfriend. Mia smiled, a genuine, happy smile, and took Ryan's hand as they sat down. Leo probably never would have imagined the coincidence. After Mia left, he had a prearranged meeting with his lawyer to discuss the divorce proceedings. As luck would have it, they ended up at the same hotel as Mia's dinner. They had finished their meal and were talking as they prepared to leave when a voice called out from behind him. Leo, what are you doing here? He turned to see Mia, teetering on high heels, making her way toward him. An emotion flickered in Leo's eyes, quickly masked by a smile. Nothing much, just having dinner with a friend. Beside him, the lawyer smiled. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll be on my way. Mr. Foster, once the waiting period is over, the marriage can be legally dissolved. Waiting period? Who's getting a divorce? Mia said, reaching out and snatching the folder from Leo's hand. When she saw the words divorce agreement printed in bold letters on the top, her heart leaped in her throat. An ominous feeling washed over her. Just as she was about to open it, Leo's hand shot out and stopped her. He forced a chuckle. Nobody. It's for a friend of mine. He had to leave early, so I was just going over the details with the lawyer. Mia, why'd you walk off so fast? Before Mia could respond, another voice called out from behind her. Turning, she saw Ryan approaching. He walked up and naturally took her hand. Mia, the driver I arranged is here. Should we go? Didn't we say we were going to karaoke? I'm definitely going to show you my singing skills tonight. Listening to Ryan, Mia's eyes darted away, unable to meet Leo's gaze. Leo watched them leave, his face a mask of calm. He clutched the divorce agreement in his hand, then turned to the lawyer and managed a slight smile. Mr. Peterson, take care. Night fell. The streets were quiet, with only a few people milling about. Leo drove, his heart numb. His mind was filled with the image of Ryan holding Mia's delicate hand, of her scurrying away from the scene like a timid little bird. Perhaps, because he'd been hurt so many times, he was past the point of pain. All that was left was a boundless sense of helplessness. Leo had thought that when Mia accepted the invitation to the party, it would just be a simple dinner. He had thought she had finally told her friends that he was her husband. But then he saw Ryan show up, and Leo understood. He understood everything. All these years of love, of devotion, had been for nothing. He could never break through the walls around her heart. In the end, he was just an outsider. A 30-day divorce waiting period. Could it really feel this long? Leo wished the waiting period was already over so he could finally, completely, leave her life behind. Screech! Just then, the piercing sound of brakes tore through the night. Leo instinctively looked out the passenger side window. A blinding light appeared, growing closer and closer. Bang! Why didn't your wife come to the hospital? The violent impact sent his world spinning. His head felt fuzzy, and a loud ringing filled his ears. At the same time, he felt an excruciating pain in his chest. Looking down through his blurry vision, Leo saw that a shard of glass from the collision had pierced his chest. Blood was pouring out, and then he lost consciousness. He didn't know how much time had passed before he woke up again. He saw white walls and smelled the sharp, antiseptic scent of a hospital. He saw the 4 bag next to him, the clear liquid slowly dripping into his body. You're awake? Man, you had us scared. Just then, he heard footsteps. Leo looked toward the door of the hospital room. A man in casual clothes with short, stylishly messy hair walked in. Chris, what are you doing here? Leo asked, surprised to see him. His name was Chris Miller, his best friend. They had been inseparable since childhood. After they graduated from college together, Chris had also gotten a job at a hospital in the same city. He knew everything about Leo. There were no secrets between them. That, of course, included the story of his marriage to Mia. Hearing Leo's question, Chris walked over, pressed the call button next to the bed, and sighed. What do you think I'm doing here? You needed surgery, man. Someone had to be here for you, to sign the papers. So of course I came. But what about Mia? I definitely. Click, click, click. More footsteps approached. A doctor and a nurse came in. After a brief examination, the doctor let out a sigh of relief. Not bad. Your recovery is progressing well. However, the doctor's brow furrowed. Sir, I know some things are not my place to say, but I really don't understand. You've been unconscious for 3 days. Since you were admitted, we've called the number listed as my wife in your phone countless times, and not once has anyone picked up. Leo finally understood why Chris was here. He had 2 people pinned to the top of his contacts list. One was Mia, labeled my wife. The other was Chris. Leo managed a weak, bitter laugh but didn't say anything. A wave of sorrow washed over him. When he was in the car crash, she was probably at a karaoke bar with a man she loved, right? How could she possibly have time to worry about him? The doctor hesitated for a moment, then sighed, gave a few more instructions, and left. Leo picked up his phone. He saw the call log, saw the dozens of calls made to Mia over the past 3 days. And to Chris? Only 1 call had been made, and he had been here, by his side, for 3 days and 3 nights. Chris, thanks. What are you talking about? You get into trouble. Of course I'm going to be here, Chris said, annoyed. But I did send Mia a text. She said, she's on her way. Leo fell silent. His heart was filled with nothing but resignation. She had never, not once, truly cared about him. The end of this marriage, for him, was a kind of release. Just as Chris finished speaking, Mia burst into the room. There was a flicker of panic in her eyes. Just a flicker. But it was enough to bring a sliver of warmth to Leo's cold heart. However, the moment she walked in, she looked at Leo and demanded, "You were in a car accident. Why didn't you call me? Why didn't you tell me? Leo, do you just pretend I don't exist?" Leo was speechless. A business trip? More like a trip with another man. Hearing Mia's accusation, the words Leo was about to say died in his throat. He remembered what he had just seen on his phone. Over the last few days, more than a dozen calls had been made to Mia's number every single day. Calls made by the doctor, by Chris who was sitting right beside him. And now, she was accusing him of not calling her. It was absurd, laughable. A coldness crept into Leo's eyes, but he forced a smile. It was just a minor thing. I didn't want to bother you. Hearing this, a hint of guilt crossed Mia's face. Leo, what happened the other day, it was really just a coincidence. You, don't overthink it. Leo didn't respond. Instead, he asked, I heard you're helping him with his application for the associate department head position. How's that going? Mia was taken aback by his sudden change of subject, but nodded. Yes, it's already been submitted. Leo chuckled. That's good. Sounds like it went smoothly. I hope I also. What? Just as Mia was about to ask what Leo had muttered under his breath, her phone rang. When she saw who was calling, a flicker of hesitation crossed her face, but she turned and left the room anyway. A few minutes later, as Mia returned and pushed open the door to the room, she overheard a conversation from inside. Yeah, it's not much longer now. Once the waiting period is over, I'll finally be free. What? Suddenly, Mia remembered the divorce agreement she'd seen in Leo's hands after dinner that night. Connecting that with what she had just heard, a wave of panic washed over her. Her heart dropped as she quickly pushed the door open. Waiting period? Who's getting a divorce? Leo looked up. He hadn't expected Mia to come back so quickly. Usually, when she got a call from him, she would talk for a long time. But he recovered quickly, forcing a laugh. Oh, Chris is getting a divorce. Mia frowned. looking at Chris beside the bed. He played along with a nervous laugh. Yeah, it's me. Mia pressed. Why all of a sudden? I thought you two were doing really well. Mia didn't know much about Leo's personal life or his circle of friends. But as his best friend, she had had dinner with Chris a few times, and they were connected on social media. Otherwise, she wouldn't have even come today. Chris chuckled and brushed it off with a vague excuse. Mia didn't push it. She turned her attention back to Leo. Leo, the department head, just called. I have to go on a business trip out of town for a few days. Were you being discharged? Leo replied, in 6 days. Mia nodded, said a few more words, and then left. But 6 days passed. When Leo stood at the entrance of the hospital, Mia was nowhere to be seen. He stared blankly at his phone, then suddenly had an idea. He borrowed Chris's phone and opened Mia's social media feed. Sure enough, he saw that Mia's feed was filled with pictures from a beach. Although she was the only one in the photos, Leo understood everything. He took out his own phone and called Mia again. After a few rings, she picked up. Leo could hear the sound of waves in the background, and he could hear the feigned guilt in Mia's voice. Leo, I'm so sorry. Things are a little complicated over here. I won't be able to get back for a while. It's fine. You're busy, Leo said, not wanting to say another word. He hung up immediately. He looked at Chris beside him and forced a smile. It's okay. There are only 10 days left. In 10 days, I'll be completely free. Why should I care about these little things? Chris was silent. He wanted to pursue his wife. Fortunately, Leo's physical recovery was going well. From now on, he just needed to be careful. With Chris's help, he finally returned to their house. For the next few days, Leo counted down the days until he could leave this city, packing up everything that tied him to her. Leo was determined to throw away every single object that held shared memory. He didn't want to leave Mia with any reminder of him. Since Ryan was back from abroad, and since all of Mia's thoughts were now focused on Ryan, then, what was the point of him staying, of being the third wheel in their relationship? And so Leo packed for days. Every time he picked up an object that held countless memories of their time together, a wave of sadness would wash over him. In the past, he had truly given her his all. When Leo threw away the last item that belonged to their shared history, a single tear escaped from the corner of his eye. He smiled bitterly, saying nothing. Not long after, Mia returned. When she saw how empty the house was, she was stunned. What? What did you do? Leo continued to watch TV, his voice flat. We're moving soon, to the commercial property Mom and Dad bought. So I was just getting rid of some things we don't use often. Hearing this, Mia didn't question it further. That night, after Mia had washed up, she was called away by a message. As she was leaving, she told Leo she had an emergency surgery to perform. Leo, lying in bed, simply nodded. An emergency surgery? He and Mia were in the same department. Did she think he wouldn't know? The next day, as Leo was directing the movers to load the last of their things onto the truck, preparing to leave, Mia suddenly returned. She got in her car and followed the moving truck to their new home several miles away. Not long after they arrived, just as they parked in front of the new house, a man appeared. Seeing him standing there, Leo's eyes narrowed. Mia, on the other hand, lit up, and she subconsciously touched her stomach. What are you doing here? Ryan walked up to them, a gentle smile on his face. Why can't I be here? I remembered you were moving today, so asked around and found your new address. Hey, he said, noticing Leo. I remember you. You're Leo Foster, right? An attending in Mia's department? Leo nodded silently, and so much more. I'm her husband, in the eyes of the law. But Mia had never told anyone. Under Mia's direction, the movers carried box after box into the house, placing everything exactly where she wanted it. Time ticked by. The sun climbed high into the sky, beating down relentlessly. Mia went into the bedroom to take a shower. Leo went out onto the living room balcony, lit a cigarette, and stared out, lost in thought. Just then, Ryan came out onto the balcony and stood beside him. He lit a cigarette of his own and chuckled. We saw each other at the hotel last time. Mia told me. You two were classmates in college. When Leo nodded, Ryan continued. What's Mia like? I want to pursue her. Leo was stunned. We're divorced. Hearing Ryan's words, Leo froze for a moment. He couldn't believe Ryan was asking him, Mia's husband, for advice on how to win her over. But then it hit him. Mia had never, in all these years, told anyone about their relationship. It was no wonder Ryan would ask. A self-mocking smile touched Leo's lips. Maybe. I never had a place in her heart to begin with. Since that was the case, why should he keep forcing it? With that thought, he smiled. She's a great person. I can tell she cares a lot about you. I'm sure if you just tell her how you feel, she'll be yours. Really? That's great to know. Ryan beamed. Leo, however, was laughing bitterly on the inside. For the first time in a long while, Mia was cooking. She claimed it was to celebrate their first meal in the new house. But in all their years of marriage, Leo had never seen her do anything like this. He knew who it was for. It was for that man. The man she had never been able to forget. What did it have to do with him? Whatever. It was only for a few more days. Then, he would finally be free. Throughout the meal, Leo felt like an outsider. He watched as Mia served Ryan dish after dish, praising him for how hard he had worked helping them move. But it was Leo who had done all the heavy lifting. After dinner, Leo went to the bedroom. Not long after, Mia came in, climbed into bed, and wrapped her arms around him from behind. Leo, I'm sorry I've been neglecting you lately, but Ryan just got back from abroad. He doesn't know anyone here, and he's applying for the associate department head position. So, of course, I have to help him more. Also, I need to tell you something. Next month, I have to go on a business trip for a while. I probably won't be back until after the new year. Okay, Leo replied calmly. After the new year, just in time for her to have the baby. So, she had already thought up this whole lie to deceive him. Oh, right, Mia said suddenly. Our anniversary is coming up soon. Is there anything you want? I'll buy it for you. Hearing this, Leo laughed bitterly to himself. In that case, let's revisit the places where we had our first date and where I first told you I loved you. Okay, 3 days later. Today was their anniversary. It was also the last day of their divorce waiting period. Mia spent the whole day with Leo, but her mind was elsewhere. She kept glancing at her phone. That evening, they had just sat down at a fancy restaurant when Mia's phone buzzed. She looked at the message, and her brow furrowed. Leo, I'm so sorry. My best friend was in a car accident. I have to go right away. Can't her family go? Why do you have to go now? Today is I already told you. I have to go, Leo. I'll make it up to you when I get back. Watching Mia hurry away, Leo sat there, a storm of emotions churning inside him. He didn't need another bite. He went home in a daze and happened to see a new post on his social media feed from Ryan. With you, I want to grow old together. Beneath the caption was a picture of 2 hands clasped together. Leo's breath caught in his throat. He knew that hand all too well. Mia, she had said yes to Ryan? Leo let out a self-deprecating laugh. He sat down at his computer and continued editing a video. Midnight came and went, and still Mia hadn't returned. Leo let out a cold laugh, took one last look around the room, and left without a backward glance. The next day, it was after 10 in the morning when Mia finally came home, smelling of alcohol, her clothes disheveled. She called out Leo's name a few times, but got no response. She tried calling his phone, but it was turned off. A flicker of panic ignited in her chest. Then she saw the video paused on the television screen. She walked over and pressed play. Mia, yesterday was the 5th anniversary of when we started dating, and also our wedding anniversary. And it was the 11th year since I started pursuing you. On the screen, Leo's eyes were bloodshot. I can't believe I've been in love with you for 11 years. I thought that 11 years would be enough time for you to fall completely in love with me. But I never imagined that all this time, your heart was still with another man. You're even carrying his child. It seems I can't change the fact that you don't love me. So fine. Since that's the case, on this day, a day that should be special for us, I have something to tell you. Mia, we're divorced. You don't want a divorce? Is regret of any use now? In the bedroom closet, remember that agreement you wanted to look at the other day? That's right. That was our divorce agreement, signed by both of us. I assume you didn't get home until the next day? Good. As of this moment, our marriage is officially over. Every word Leo spoke was like a clap of thunder, exploding in Mia's mind. She stood there, stunned, then ran like a madwoman into the bedroom. She threw open the closet doors. The first thing she saw was that all of Leo's clothes were gone. Then she saw the file folder at the bottom. She tore it open. The words divorce agreement screamed up at her, a shocking sight. She frantically flipped to the last page and saw her own signature in her own handwriting. So, that day, what Leo had asked her to sign wasn't a contract for her parents' property, but a divorce agreement. She understood. It all made sense now. Even that time, she ran into Leo with that lawyer at the hotel after the party with Ryan. Leo had been discussing their divorce. Mia felt her world collapse. She stumbled back into the living room, where the video was still playing. Seeing all those old photos, are you filled with memories? But, Mia looked up at the screen, at Leo's face. He suddenly let out a self-mocking laugh. I thought 11 years could change you, but in the end, I was the one who was wrong. From now on, our 5-year marriage is finally over. I know you love Ryan, and you're carrying a child. You were even planning to use a 6-month business trip as an excuse to deceive me? Forget it. I wish you 2 happiness. The screen went black. Mia was frozen. So he had known all along. He knew everything that had happened between her and Ryan. He even knew she was pregnant with his child. That was 2 months ago, when she had used the excuse of a business trip to go abroad. She knew Ryan had recently gotten divorced, so she had flown to him without a moment's hesitation. And even, right? Something suddenly occurred to Mia. She rushed out of the house, got in her car, and drove to the area near the restaurant where she had had dinner with Ryan and her friends. Sure enough, she saw a sign for a law firm on the 3rd floor. Soon, she saw the man she had met that night, David Peterson. Mia stormed into the office and slammed the divorce agreement down on his desk. Mr. Peterson was taken aback, then his expression soured. What do you think you're doing? Are you here to cause trouble? Why wasn't I aware that we were getting a divorce? You weren't aware? Mr. Peterson had, of course, learned about Mia from Leo. He let out a cold laugh and flipped to the last page of the agreement. Her signature was right there. This is your own signature. It can't be forged. I don't care. Right now, this instant, I want you to cancel this divorce agreement. I don't want to divorce Leo. I don't. That's enough. Bang. Mr. Peterson slammed his hand on the desk, his voice sharp. He stood up and stared coldly at the stunned Mia. Mia, you need to wake up. My client told me that in 5 years of marriage, you never once gave him the tenderness a husband deserves. You were constantly thinking about a man named Ryan. And you can't even be faithful, can't even accept the love that's right in front of you. Why do you have to try and win him back now? You regret it? Is regret of any use? My client told me the night you signed that paper, you ran off to find that other man, didn't you? And later, when your friends asked you to bring your boyfriend to dinner, you brought that man too, didn't you? I was downstairs at the time. I saw it with my own eyes. Every word Mr. Peterson spoke was a dagger to the heart. You have a husband you've been married to for 5 years, yet you've never told anyone about your relationship? Mia, you play a dangerous game. You're a real piece of work. And that same night, he got into a car accident on his way home. The doctor used his phone to call you more than a dozen times, trying to get you to the hospital to sign the consent forms. And what were you doing? You were at a karaoke bar with that other man, drinking and singing. You didn't answer a single call. Did you even know he was lying unconscious in a hospital? You had no idea. WH what? Mia quickly pulled out her phone. She found her call log from that day. Sure enough, there they were. Call after call from Leo, just a few minutes apart. Suddenly, she remembered what had happened that day. Her sins. All her sins. Mia was speechless. Her mind was racing, trying to recall what she had been doing at that moment. It turned out, she had been at a karaoke bar with her friends, at Ryan's invitation. That day, her best friends had been relentlessly pushing her to bring her boyfriend to meet them. Mia even remembered that Leo had seen the message in the group chat. He had even looked at her expectantly. But at that moment, the first person who came to her mind was Ryan. And it was at that very time that Leo was in a car crash. Suddenly, Mia felt as if she couldn't breathe. She realized how frantic the doctor must have been, calling her over and over again. Right? She remembered. Ryan had deliberately silenced her phone. And later, he had even taken her phone to snap an intimate photo of the two of them. So that was when, across the desk, Mr. Peterson let out a cold snort. It seems you remember now? You realize the extent of the damage your actions have caused my client? And furthermore, Mr. Peterson's gaze was piercing. When you finally went to the hospital, didn't you question him, asking why he hadn't called you? Mia, what on earth were you thinking? He had called you so many times, and the first thing you do is attack him. Mia stammered. I had my reasons. Reasons? Are you trying to say you were busy singing and cozying up to another man? Mia fell silent. Mr. Peterson continued, and afterward, the doctor kept calling you every day. What were you doing then? Mia thought back. At that time, she had been busy helping Ryan with his application for the associate department head position. And later, when you went to the hospital, you should have been by his side, taking care of him. But what did you do? You used the excuse of a business trip to go on a vacation with another man. And then, when you came back and saw my client packing up his things at home, you didn't think anything of it. Don't you realize that after he finished packing, he left you for good? And you left the house for another man's call, and in doing so, you left him completely. Mr. Peterson glanced at his phone, a smirk playing on his lips. And last night, you even exchanged rings with that man and posted a picture of it on your social media. Mia, these are all your sins. With your own actions, you have single-handedly destroyed your own marriage. Enough. Stop talking. Mia clutched her head, crying out in agony. She screamed until her voice was hoarse. Mia knew these were all her sins. The day she signed the divorce agreement, she had been texting with Ryan, completely oblivious to what Leo had handed her. Later, when her friends asked her to bring her boyfriend, the first person she thought of was Ryan. When Leo was in the car crash, she was at a karaoke bar, having fun with Ryan. And after that, memory after memory flooded Mia's mind, each one a fresh wave of pain. She looked up abruptly, her eyes pleading with Mr. Peterson. Please, can you give me Leo's current contact information? I can't reach him. Mr. Peterson let out a cold laugh. How do you have a nerve to ask me that? She regretted it. Mia fell silent. She looked at Mr. Peterson, speechless, not knowing what to say. Gradually, tears welled up in her eyes, threatening to spill over. Mr. Peterson looked at the woman before him and snorted. Mia, I don't know what you promised my client in the past. I don't know what your relationship was like before. All I can say is, in this relationship, you betrayed him. You were the sinner. Everything that has happened, you brought it upon yourself. Mia said nothing, her head bowed in shame. Suddenly, she remembered the moment she had agreed to marry Leo and everything that followed. At the time, she had been devastated by the news that Ryan had gone abroad and gotten married in a flash. That combined with her parents' constant nagging and the fact that Leo had been pursuing her for so long, she had agreed. Over the past 5 years, Mia's heart had, in fact, made room for Leo, but she had never paid attention to his efforts, his sacrifices. Now, she finally understood. In the past, Leo would wait up for her every night. He would prepare a delicious, home-cooked meal and run a hot bath for her. He was constantly checking in on her, asking if she was okay. At the hospital, whenever he saw that she was busy, he would bring her a cup of hot ginger tea. And sometimes, when Mia had to work late because of a long surgery and there was a storm raging outside, Leo would always be the first one there at the hospital entrance, holding an umbrella, waiting for her. Mia couldn't help but think that, whenever it rained, she never got a single drop of water on her. But half of Leo's body would be soaked through. Recalling these moments from the past, she finally felt the weight of everything Leo had done for her. She finally understood that in those 5 years, and even in the years he had pursued her before that, he had been caring for her every single moment. And what had she done? From beginning to end, she had never cared about any of it. Her mind had always been on Ryan. She had, even while married to Leo, gone abroad and had a wild affair with Ryan. 3 days of madness had left Mia feeling numb. She never imagined that those 3 days would result in a pregnancy. Mia had panicked. But later, Ryan told her that he would be returning to the States soon and that she should have the baby. He promised he would take care of the child. He said he would give Mia everything he could. Mia had agreed immediately, but she had forgotten the most important thing, the one thing she had never told anyone, the fact that she was married. So, Ryan had no idea she was married. That was why he had so passionately made those promises to her. By the time she returned to the States and saw Leo, she finally realized what a terrible mistake she had made. She had had an affair with Ryan and was now carrying his child. In 5 years of marriage to Leo, she had never gotten pregnant. Even when they were intimate, just to satisfy a basic need, Mia rarely agreed. She felt she had no feelings for Leo. At this moment, Mia finally understood. She understood how she had betrayed Leo's love for her all these years. Now that Leo had completely disappeared from her life, she realized that she had nothing left. She quickly pulled out her phone and sent Leo a message on WhatsApp, only to find that his account had been deleted. She tried calling his number, but a recorded message informed her that the number was no longer in service. Mia's mind went blank. Her world was collapsing. Thought, without a moment's hesitation, she dropped to her knees in front of Mr. Peterson. Mr. Peterson, please, I'm begging you, help me just this once. I'll give you whatever you want. Money, I can give you money. You can even have me. I'll give you anything. Shut up. Mr. Peterson snapped. Mia, for God's sake, are you so desperate to get Leo back that you're willing to throw away your dignity, your self-respect? Huh? Don't you understand why Leo left you? It's because of your betrayal. Mia was stunned into silence. Then she began to bow her head, again and again, in a desperate plea. She just kept begging, her actions frantic. Mr. Peterson's brow was tightly furrowed. After a long moment, he sighed. Get up. Hearing this, Mia felt a wave of relief wash over her. She quickly got to her feet, her eyes filled with hope. Mr. Peterson said slowly, you want Leo's contact information? I do have it, but I can't give it to you. I have to respect my client's privacy. Besides, you have no right to bother him again. However, if you have something you want to say to him, I can pass along a message. Hearing this, Mia's initial disappointment was quickly replaced by a renewed sense of hope. She nodded eagerly. Okay then, can I write him a letter? And you can send it to him for me. No problem. Denmark. known as a land of romance. Walking through a small town, Leo felt the cool breeze on his face and couldn't help but smile. He really liked it here. Although he had come alone, he had saved up some money over the years. He wouldn't have to worry about finances for the rest of his life. Seeing a for rent sign on a house to his left, Leo chuckled and walked inside. Too long didn't read. Leo used his savings to rent a house here. He then planned to buy a series of daily necessities, intending to settle down here for the foreseeable future. At the same time, he intended to use his medical license to open a small clinic, providing some convenience for the town's residents while also giving himself something to do. Although he no longer needed the income, staying here with nothing to do could get boring. After a busy day, he finally returned to his rented home. Leo bought some groceries and began to cook a hearty dinner. Just as he finished, his phone buzzed. He opened a new WhatsApp account he had created. A message from Mr. Peterson was waiting for him. "Buddy, Mia has been torturing me ever since she saw us meet. It's 2 in the morning here in the States, and she just finished writing you a letter. She wants me to give it to you. You want to take a look?" Looking at the Word document Mr. Peterson had sent, Leo felt a sense of weariness. He took a bite of his food and opened the document. Instantly, he was greeted by a wall of text. Over 10,000 words. Leo froze for a moment. Then, without hesitation, he closed it. He sent a reply to Mr. Peterson. "Too long didn't read. Tell her that from now on, we should never see each other again." With that, Leo turned off his phone, put on the TV, and enjoyed a rare, authentic Chinese meal in this foreign land. When Mia saw the reply from Mr. Peterson's end, she felt her world crumble. In a daze, Mia managed a respectful bow and left the office. It was already 2 in the morning in the city. The streets were empty. A chilly autumn wind blew, making Mia feel cold to the bone. She clutched her slightly rounded belly and finally drove home. Looking at the house she and Leo had worked so hard to buy together, there was no trace of him left. Mia knew that all their shared memories, everything that belonged to Leo, he had taken with him. Despite her pregnancy, Mia opened a bottle of red wine, sat on the sofa, and watched the video Leo had made for her play on a loop on the television. She suddenly understood. Leo's heart had died, because she had never, from the very beginning, forgotten Ryan. She had always hoped for something more with him. And then, he had seen her pregnancy report. As she drank, Mia clutched her head in agony. "I'm sorry, Leo. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. It's my fault. I never appreciated how good you were to me." Ryan's abandonment. Mia didn't know how long she had been asleep when she felt someone shaking her. She opened her eyes. It was Ryan. He was sitting next to her on the sofa, dressed in casual clothes. Seeing that Mia was awake, Ryan smiled, his voice full of concern. "What's wrong? Why are you sleeping on the sofa? And you've been drinking?" Mia shook her head bitterly. Looking at Ryan, she felt a strange sense of detachment, as if he were from another lifetime. She didn't know how to face the reality of their relationship. It was only at this moment that she finally understood that she had never been in love with Ryan. Her pursuit of him had been nothing more than a desperate attempt to find some solace for the unrequited love of her youth, and it had ended with them sleeping together. Thinking of this, a wave of deep regret washed over her. Just then, Ryan looked at Mia and said, "Mia, there's something I need to tell you." Mia was taken aback. "What is it?" Ryan continued, "My ex-wife. She came back from abroad to find me. She wants to settle down here and remarry me." "What?" The words hit Mia like a bombshell, exploding in her mind. She looked at Ryan in disbelief, then pointed to her own stomach, a hysterical laugh escaping her lips. "Do you hear yourself? Look at what's in my belly. It's your child. What do you mean, you're getting back with your ex-wife? You want to rekindle your old flame? Start over? Then what about me? What am I?" Ryan scratched his head awkwardly. "Look, we were both too impulsive before. We were playing games with our feelings. But now that she's back, I finally realized that she's always been in my heart, that I can't forget her. And I can't forget her either. So I'm sorry." Seeing Ryan bow his head, Mia suddenly laughed. Then, she raised her hand and slapped him across the face. Smack! Ryan clutched his cheek, his head ringing. A surge of anger rose within him, but it quickly subsided. He looked at Mia and smiled bitterly. "Hit me, yell at me. Do whatever you want, as long as you can agree to my terms." "Agree to what? What could I possibly agree to?" Mia's hair was a mess as she screamed frantically. "Ryan, I gave up everything for you. I lost everything. The moment I heard you divorced that woman, I flew to you. We slept together, and you told me you would always remember how good I was to you. That's why I didn't get rid of the baby. And just a few days ago, you put a ring on my finger, held my hand, and posted a picture for the world to see. Now you're telling me you want to get back with your ex-wife? What am I? I even divorced my husband for you." "What?" Ryan was stunned. You were married?" From now on, you and I have nothing to do with each other. For a moment, Mia was speechless. She couldn't believe she had just blurted out the truth about her marriage to Leo. After a long pause, Mia shook her head. The waiting period is over now. We have no relationship anymore. But what are you planning to do? Are you going to abandon our child? What about me? Hearing Mia's desperate questions, Ryan sighed. He took out a cigarette, lit it, and spoke slowly. That's what I came to discuss with you. Right now, you have two options. I can give you money, a lot of money, and you can get an abortion. Or you can have the baby, and you'll raise it on your own. I'll pay child support every month until he's grown up, married, and settled. Mia, I hope you'll seriously consider these two options. This is the most I can do for you. I just want to live my life in peace. Consider? How do you expect me to consider that? Mia laughed coldly. She raised her hand and slapped Ryan again. Ryan, you promised me that you would only love me from now on, that you would never have feelings for any other woman. That's why I gave myself to you so completely. I was even planning to have this child and raise it on my own so it wouldn't affect your career and future promotions. And now, you're telling me. Enough. Finally, Ryan's anger boiled over. He shouted, then looked at Mia and slapped her back. Mia, you never told me you had a husband. That Leo Foster is your husband? Did you ever tell me that? Now you're throwing this in my face? If I had known you were married, I would never have slept with you in my life. Mia stood there, stunned. She suddenly realized, yes. Wasn't she the one who had been so reckless? If she had told Ryan she was married back then, maybe he would have rejected her. Maybe then, she would have finally given up hope. Mia thought about how, when she had accepted Leo's pursuit, accepted his proposal, she had been trying to forget Ryan. But gradually, she had discovered that Ryan held such an important place in her heart that she couldn't forget him, even after all these years. But now suddenly Mia understood. It was because she had never paid attention to everything Leo did for her. She had never, in her heart, acknowledged his love. And that was what had led to this disastrous end. Get out. Get the hell out. Mia clutched her head, screaming in agony. Her cheek was already swelling from where Ryan had hit her. Looking at Mia's broken state, Ryan stood up and gave her a cold glance. Then, he took out a thick wad of cash from his pocket and threw it on the coffee table. Ryan's voice was like ice. Mia, this is $10,000. It's for the abortion and your recovery afterward. That should be enough. I hope you won't come looking for me again. I just want to live a peaceful life with my wife. From now on, you and I have nothing to do with each other. The mockery of a good friend. Wah! Mia cried. She cried for so long she eventually passed out. When she woke up again, the crisp new bills on the coffee table were the first thing she saw. She broke down completely. She swept everything off the table, then kicked it with all her might, shattering it into pieces. Mia knelt on the floor, howling in pain. At that moment, her heart finally died for Ryan, and she finally understood the depth of Leo's love for her. Everything Leo had done for her in the past now flooded her mind, and she could feel the sincerity of his affection. At this very moment, Mia finally understood that she had betrayed Leo. It was because of her own inability to let go of her feelings for Ryan that had led to this ending. She was a sinner. Time ticked by. Mia just sat there, staring blankly at her surroundings. She looked at the house, now devoid of any trace of Leo. It was deep into the night when Mia, her legs trembling, slowly stood up. She picked up the money from the floor, smoothing out each bill, and left the house. She went to the bank, deposited the money, and then drove to a hospital she had never been to before. She lay on the operating table in the obstetrics and gynecology department. The doctor asked her repeatedly if she was sure she wanted to terminate the pregnancy. Mia nodded resolutely. The doctor sighed and began the procedure. Late at night, clutching her aching abdomen, drenched in sweat, she left the hospital. She drove alone to a familiar apartment building. She knocked on the door and waited. After what felt like an eternity, the door opened. Chris Miller, who had been smiling, froze when he saw Mia. He frowned. What are you doing here? Mia smiled bitterly. Can I come in? Chris was silent, his thoughts unreadable. After a long pause, he nodded. Thank you. Mia whispered her gratitude, slipped on a pair of guest slippers, and walked inside. She sat down on the sofa. Chris looked at Mia's pained expression and asked, What's wrong? You look like you're in a lot of pain. Mia shook her head and gave a self-deprecating laugh. She handed him a report. Chris took it, and his pupils constricted slightly. He sneered. What? Are you trying to tell me you were pregnant with Ryan's kid, and now you've gotten rid of it just to get Leo's forgiveness? Mia hesitated for a long moment, then nodded. I finally understand now. I can't forget Leo. There was never anything real between me and Ryan. I was wrong. I messed everything up. And now, The only person in my heart is Leo. I know you're his best friend. You can contact him, right? I have no way of reaching him now. I'm asking you, please send this report to him. Let him know how much I regret everything. Please. No. Chris shook his head, a mocking smile spreading across his face. Mia, if you had known this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? You betrayed my best friend. You should have known that all of this is your own damn fault. Why do you have to ask for his forgiveness now? Mia was stunned in his silence. After a long moment, she sighed. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have bothered you. With that, she slowly got up and walked out, her expression one of utter desolation, finally understanding his sacrifice. Mia knew she had lost everything. She had lost Ryan. She had thought Ryan loved her, but he had hurt her in the worst possible way, even trying to pay her off. At the same time, she had lost the husband who had pursued her for years and had been by her side for 5 years of marriage. She had lost the child in her womb, lost the attention and trust of everyone. She now had almost nothing left. In a daze, she left Chris's apartment. She stopped at a random noodle shop on the street and ate a bowl of noodles. After a while, she felt some of her strength return, and her head cleared a little. She began to think. Where could Leo have gone? Could he have gone to a place that held shared memories for them? Maybe. Leo was there, reliving their past, trying to move on from the pain. With this thought, Mia quickly paid for her meal and rushed to her car. She started the engine and began to drive frantically around Chicago. First, she went to an amusement park. This was where Leo had taken her when he was pursuing her. Looking at the drop tower, Mia suddenly smiled. At the time, she had been annoyed by Leo's persistent pursuit, but she couldn't refuse him. So, she had agreed to come here with him. And Mia had always been afraid of heights. So she had told Leo, why don't you go on it by yourself? I'll just watch from down here. What she didn't know was that Leo was also afraid of heights. And so, she had watched as Leo's face contorted in fear on the drop tower, but he had still gone through with it. Thinking about it now, Mia finally understood. Leo had his own fears, but because of her, he had never tried to escape them. Mia finally understood that Leo's sacrifices were silent and courageous. Half an hour later, she arrived at a restaurant. This was the first restaurant where she had accepted Leo's invitation to dinner. Sitting at their old table, a waiter came over and asked her what she would like to eat. Mia shook her head. Sorry, I'm just going to sit here for a while. The waiter looked at her strangely, but didn't say anything. Mia gently stroked the surface of the table, her mind drifting back to that day. When she had come here with Ryan, no, with Leo, he had handed her the menu. Mia had chosen several dishes with peanuts in them. At the time, she had seen a flicker of hesitation on Leo's face. She had even taunted him. What, Leo? Are these dishes too expensive for you? Is this how you plan to win me over? Hearing her words, Leo had told her that he was allergic to peanuts. Mia had just laughed. You're really good at making up excuses. If you don't want to treat me, just say so. Why come up with such a lame excuse? Leo's expression had faltered, but when the food arrived, he ate it without hesitation. They were only halfway through the meal when Mia saw Leo's face turn bright red. He was clutching his throat, struggling to breathe. It was only then that she finally realized that Leo really was allergic to peanuts. At that moment, Mia's heart had pounded with fear. Sitting here now, reliving that memory, she finally understood. Leo had never lied to her. Just to make her happy, to satisfy her, he had chosen to endure the pain alone. Mia got into a car accident. Tears streamed down Mia's face. She finally understood how deeply her past actions had hurt Leo. She even remembered a month ago when she came home and found their wedding photo missing. That night, she had brought Leo some takeout, and it was full of peanuts. Mia didn't even particularly like peanuts, but Ryan did, and because of him, she had started to accept them. Thinking of this, Mia's heart sank. She understood everything now. At the hospital that day, Leo had watched as Ryan whisked her away, and she had come home very late. And then she had brought him that takeout with peanuts. Mia thought in agony how hurt Leo must have been. Over the years, Mia had gradually forgotten Leo's likes and dislikes. Now, she finally understood. It was because of her carelessness over the years that Leo's heart had slowly died. She went from one place to another, and with each place, a flood of painful memories washed over her. The more she saw, the more she understood the effort and pain Leo had endured for her. And what hurt her the most was that she still hadn't found any trace of Leo. Leo, where are you? Why won't you see me? Sitting in her car at a red light, Mia pounded the steering wheel in frustration, shouting at the top of her lungs. Why? Why did I visit every place that holds our memories today and still not find you? Leo, where are you? Please come back. I know I was wrong. Can't you just tell me where you are now? I want to apologize to you, to repent. I already got rid of the baby. I have no feelings for Ryan anymore. Now, I finally know how good you are to me. Honk, honk, honk. The cars behind her started honking, jolting her back to reality. Mia saw that the light had turned green. She quickly started the car. Through her blurry, tear-filled eyes, a sharp pain suddenly shot through her abdomen, causing her to double over. At that moment, a truck behind her, unable to brake in time, slammed into her car. Instantly, the violent impact threw Mia against the steering wheel, and then she was thrown back by the airbag. In the last moments before she lost consciousness, Mia fumbled for her phone, desperately trying to make a call. But just as she found the number, before she could even press the call button, she passed out. Man, you're not going to believe this. Mia actually knelt in front of me, begging me to contact you so she could apologize. In the morning, having just woken up, Leo saw that it was already evening back in the States. Chris was video calling him. Hearing his friend's words, Leo couldn't help but give a bitter smile. So Mia, she knows how to regret things now. What was she doing before? Chris nodded in agreement. But, are you planning to stay abroad forever, man? I'll come back eventually, Leo said with a chuckle. But, only after I'm completely over Mia. Chris nodded. Just then his phone rang. Seeing an unfamiliar number, he waved at the tablet in front of him and answered the call. After a moment, he was stunned. What? Mia was in a car accident. Massive bleeding? But, why are you calling me? Agreed to the divorce? On the other side of the screen, Leo was also taken aback when he heard Chris's confused voice. A moment later, after Chris hung up, he asked curiously, "What's wrong?" Chris grimaced. Mia got into a car accident. The officer at the scene said she tried to call me in her last moments, but didn't manage to dial. So they used that number to contact me, asking me to go to the hospital and handle things. I really don't get it. Why contact me? Forget it. I'll call her parents and let them deal with it. Handling things for a woman like that, it just feels dirty. Leo nodded bitterly, but didn't say anything more. They chatted for a few more minutes before ending the call. Leo turned to look out the window. The night was dark, and the stars were twinkling outside. His eyes narrowed, lost in thought. The following days, Leo spent his time in the small Danish town, feeling genuinely happy. Without Mia's interference, without the messy emotional baggage, Leo felt incredibly free. Meanwhile, Mia, after being in a coma for 7 days and 7 nights, finally woke up in a hospital bed. Pale and weak, the first thing she saw when she opened her eyes were her parents. Instantly, Mia's emotions overwhelmed her. She hugged her mother, confessing everything she had done wrong. After some time, feeling a bit of her strength return, Mia picked up her phone, wanting to try calling Leo one more time. But the recorded message telling her the number was no longer in service crushed her hopes once again. Suddenly, a news notification popped up on her screen. When she saw the headline, her face lit up. Without hesitation, she found the number from Mr. Peterson, the lawyer, and quickly dialed. The call connected. Mr. Peterson sounded puzzled. Mia, is there something else? I made it clear last time that my client does not wish to hear any more apologies or attempts at reconciliation from you. Mia said, but we only signed the divorce agreement. To get the official divorce certificate and completely dissolve the marriage, we still need to go through the final procedures together. Please tell Leo I agree to the divorce. Hearing the calm and indifferent tone in Mia's voice, Mr. Peterson was stunned. Are you sure? Before, you were so desperate to win him back. Mia smiled bitterly. Even if I wanted to, what could I do? He still refuses to see me. I understand now how disappointed he is with me. Since that's the case, we might as well get divorced. Mr. Peterson hesitated for a moment before finally speaking. All right, I'll contact my client. When he returns, I'll send the details of your appointment for the final divorce proceedings to your phone. Mia nodded and hung up. 10 minutes later, Leo, who was busy cleaning his house, suddenly received a call from Mr. Peterson. He was taken aback. What? I have to go back to finalize the divorce proceedings? Her decision. Leo was truly stunned. He had never imagined that the divorce process with Mia would be this complicated. On the other end of the line, Mr. Peterson gave a wry laugh. Yes, you two do need to meet one more time. You both need to go to the courthouse together, with the divorce agreement and your respective IDs, to complete the final paperwork. Only then will the marriage be legally dissolved. Leo shook his head in frustration. How did she sound when she called you? Mr. Peterson replied, quite calm. It seems like she's completely given up on you. So I guess she's really ready to finalize the divorce. Leo finally let out a long sigh. All right then. In that case, I'll take a flight in 3 hours. With the time difference, I should arrive in Chicago the morning after tomorrow. I'll meet you then. After a brief conversation, they hung up. Leo looked at the booking app on his phone and sighed. He had thought that once the divorce agreement was signed, their marriage would be officially over. He hadn't expected all these extra hassles. Since that was the case, his plans to settle down in the small Danish town would have to be delayed. So, Leo checked his documents, booked a flight back to the States, quickly packed a small bag, and rushed to the airport. Mia finally regained some of her strength and, against her parents' advice, insisted on being discharged from the hospital. After saying goodbye to her parents, she returned to their old house. It hadn't been sold yet, so Mia was still able to go back. Looking at the now empty rooms, Mia took out her phone, called a moving company, and had all the furniture from the new house brought over. Then, following her memory, she bought many of the items that held shared memories for her and Leo, placing them back in their original spots. Mia worked tirelessly for 2 days. By the evening of the second day, she collapsed onto the sofa, completely exhausted. Looking around, she saw that the home she had shared with Leo was about 80 to 90% restored to its former state. Mia suddenly let out a bitter laugh. Now, I don't know if this will be enough to make you remember everything we've been through. I don't believe it. After all these years we've known each other, all the years we were married, you can't just leave me so heartlessly. This time, I regret it. I regret my past with Ryan, that complicated, messy story. From the moment you come back, I will love you with all my heart, without any reservations. And with that, Mia fell asleep on the sofa. The next morning, at the Chicago airport, Leo got off the plane and quickly spotted his good friend, Chris Miller, waiting for him. Chris walked up with a grin. You look like you've lost some weight. Leo laughed. Nothing much. Just been busy renovating the house I rented abroad. Chris nodded. So, you're really going through with the divorce this time? What if she doesn't agree? Doesn't agree? Leo sneered. I'm already dead to her. Even if she doesn't agree, what more can she get from me? How dare you? Early in the morning, while Mia was having breakfast, she received a message from Mr. Peterson. He informed her that Leo had arrived in Chicago. It was only then that she realized that on the last day of their divorce waiting period, Leo had packed up all his belongings and left the country. She finally understood that Leo was planning to forget her completely. But how could she let that happen? So from that day on, Mia decided to get herself into the best possible mental state. She then told Mr. Peterson that she wanted to see Leo right away. However, she was informed that Leo needed to rest and didn't want to see her yet. The hope in Mia's heart flickered like a dying flame, but soon it reignited. A smirk played on her lips as Mia muttered to herself, Leo, you don't want to see me now? But no matter what, we will have to meet again eventually. Just you wait. As the days passed, one by one. Finally, early one morning, Mia received a message from Mr. Peterson. They could meet. Without hesitation, Mia told Mr. Peterson to have Leo meet her at their old house. However, Mr. Peterson informed her that the location Leo had chosen was the courthouse. This made Mia's heart sink, but she quickly let out a cold laugh, as if everything was going according to her plan. Without taking anything with her, she left the house. When she arrived at the courthouse, she met Leo. As Leo took Mia inside to handle the paperwork, the clerk asked for their documents. Mia, feigning guilt, said that she hadn't brought any of her IDs. The clerk was exasperated and scolded Mia. Mia then turned to Leo and said, Why don't you come back home with me to get them? Before Leo could answer, Chris, who was with them, interjected, I'm sorry, Mia, but are you seriously here to get a divorce or not? Mia nodded. Of course I am. It's just that. Leo was the one who packed up everything at home. How would I know where he put my documents? Hearing this, Chris just rolled his eyes. Leo, however, felt a pang of emotion. It was true. Ever since he had married Mia, he had been the one to handle all the household affairs, big and small. Mia never had to do anything. She could just enjoy her leisure time after work, living her own happy life. When had Mia ever thought about all the things he had done for her? He nodded. After hesitating for a moment, Leo said a few words to Chris and got into Mia's car. On the road, Mia stopped at a red light and turned to look at Leo. You've been abroad all this time, right? Leo nodded, then said coldly, What does that have to do with you? We're about to be divorced. From now on, we're strangers. Don't worry about me. Leo, Mia said urgently, I don't want to divorce you. I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. Can you just give me one more chance? Hearing this, Leo sneered. Give you a chance? How? Do you have the nerve to ask me that? Over a decade wasted. He stared at Mia, a cold sneer on his face. Mia, I pursued you for 6 or 7 years, and then we were married for 5 years. At first, I thought that when you agreed to my proposal and married me so quickly, you had finally felt my love for you, that you understood, or maybe, that you were ready to accept me. But I never imagined what you would do later. You never forgot Ryan. You even went abroad, had an affair with him, and got pregnant with his child. Mia was silent. Leo continued. For the past 5 years of our marriage, all I ever saw was your cold, indifferent face. Every day, you treated me with utter disregard. And now, you're telling me you regret it, that you care about me? Do you even believe that yourself? Mia's brow furrowed. After a long struggle, she finally spoke. But I really do regret it. It was only after you left that I finally understood all the love you gave me. And I also realized during this time that there's nothing left between me and Ryan. I think I was just trying to get some closure for all those years I chased after him, to get some kind of response from him. I never thought that your leaving would make me see what was truly in my heart, that would make me realize how much I can't live without you. Leo sneered and turned to look out the car window. He didn't want to get entangled in this anymore. His voice was cold and distant. Mia, save it. Today, we're getting divorced. From now on, let's not have anything to do with each other. Mia was silent. She stared at the road ahead, then started the car and continued driving. Gradually, Leo realized that Mia was not driving to their new house, but to their old one. As they walked into the apartment building and stood in the elevator, Leo frowned. All your documents were moved to the new house. Why are we here? Mia looked at Leo with burning intensity. I want to prove to you that I really can't live without you, that I really love you. Prove it, Leo sneered. You can prove it by signing the divorce papers. After that, you can prove whatever you want. I won't stop you. Mia fell silent again. She bit her lip, her fists clenched. She could feel Leo's determination, and it broke her heart. But thinking about what she had planned, Mia swallowed her pain and pressed on. Ding! The elevator arrived at their floor. She handed the keys to Leo. He took them, a smirk on his face. Oomph. What? Don't tell me you've forgotten how to open your own door? Mia, I've really spoiled you these past 5 years. Have you lost the ability to take care of yourself? Mia didn't say anything. Leo walked up to the door and expertly inserted the key. He opened the door, and at that moment, when he saw the familiar old furniture that he had thrown away, all the things that held their shared memories back in their places, he froze. He even saw their wedding photo hanging on the wall. She agreed to the divorce, seeing the familiar scene before him. Even the things that Leo had destroyed, Mia had somehow found identical replacements for them and placed them in their original spots. Seeing all this, a flood of memories washed over Leo. He was all too familiar with these things. But soon he spoke again, his voice cold. Mia, what's all this? Where did you find these things? Mia walked up to him and said slowly, because I know you threw these things away because they held our shared memories. You didn't want to face them anymore. And you didn't want me to have any emotional attachment to them either. So you threw them away. And now I brought them back. I just want to tell you, Leo, I've always known everything you've done for me. It's just that. Mia's expression was pained. She turned to look at Leo with determination. I admit, I was too immature in our relationship before. I thought that as long as I accepted your proposal and married you, I wouldn't have to put in any effort. Gradually, I became cold to you. I started to ignore everything you did. And now, I finally regret it. Mia walked further into the room, pointing at the various objects and furniture, recalling their stories one by one. Remember this? This is the mug you asked me about. You asked me which of the two I liked. I said I liked this one, and you bought it for me without hesitation. And this fridge magnet, do you see it? It still has your handwriting on it. You wrote that I should eat on time. Sometimes, you would wake up early, and I would wake up late. Seeing this fridge magnet would remind me to eat breakfast on time. And this. And this. Mia pointed to one thing after another, and Leo just watched her from behind in silence. After a while, Mia finished her story and turned around. She looked at Leo seriously and said, Leo, I'm telling you all this just to let you know that I have never forgotten everything you've done for me. I've never forgotten your kindness, your sacrifices. It's just that I felt like it was something you were supposed to do, and I didn't understand that a relationship requires mutual effort. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Looking at Mia's serious expression, Leo sneered, brushed past her, and walked into the bedroom. He found all of Mia's documents and the relevant paperwork, then walked out again. Are you done? Finished with your sentimental speech? Let's go. We have to get divorced. Mia stared at Leo, silent for a long moment. Suddenly, her brow furrowed. She stumbled and fell to the ground as she took a step. Leo turned to look at her, seeing her pale face and her clutching her stomach in pain. He asked curiously, What's wrong? You're not planning to fake an illness to get out of this, are you? After a long struggle, Mia managed to get up, a bitter smile on her face. Of course not. Since you're so insistent on getting a divorce, then I'll agree to it. She fainted, left her for dead. Even Leo was surprised that Mia, after all her efforts, would suddenly agree to divorce him. But, regardless, Leo was happy to see it happen. He nodded, and they left the apartment together. They drove to the courthouse. Chris was waiting for them there. They went inside, and in a whirlwind of paperwork, half an hour later, Leo held the divorce certificate in his hand. A wave of relief washed over him.